Being a teen can feel pretty lonely sometimes. It's actually a bigger issue than you might think. Researchers have found loneliness is an incredibly prevalent feeling among teenagers, and it's not just impacting them emotionally. Our friend and parenting contributor Belinda Palacios joins us now with ways to combat some of that loneliness. Belinda, a lot of studies out there. The key takeaways, kids, this is for them, they feel like they're really alone.
They really do, and Cigna, the insurer Cigna, did a study. It's an informal survey study, but they polled from teens all the way to the elderly.
Okay.
And what they found is that those kids between the ages of 18 and 24 or 16 and 24 were much more prevalent to feel like they were alone and did not have the kind of support systems than a 72-year-old felt. And one of the things that Cigna and this survey has speculated on is, you know, because 72-year-olds really aren't that into social media. I mean, they may have Facebook accounts and such, but they're not consumed with who likes it, who shares it, and really comparing themselves to what they see on these different, these different apps.
And a lot of times, I think we pigeonhole it in there, but when it comes to loneliness, it goes beyond sadness. I mean, there is a sick feeling. There's a sickness.
What they have found is that the stress from loneliness can really make you ill. Yeah. I mean, it can create all kinds of problems, from cardiovascular and heart disease problems to diabetes, to those kinds of physical conditions.
And doesn't it, like the mortality, mimic that of smoking?
It does.
Did I read that right?
It does. Your mortality rate, the age will go down with just perpetual loneliness for long, long periods of time, to where it is equal to that of somebody that smokes. I believe they said like 15 packs a week.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is often a topic in our discussions, but in the world of social media, we have to remind, and this is just a state of where we are, we have to remind each other that the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, that stuff doesn't matter. Get face-to-face with somebody, have a conversation, have a relationship.
That's one of the things that they found, is that these 72-year-olds would, they have bridge clubs, or if they're in the retirement center, they're playing dominoes, or they're engaging around the coffee bar and things like that, as to where kids are stuck on devices. And so having that face-to-face contact and actually holding conversations in the relational manner is so very important. And
for kids that say, well, I've got 500 friends, what you see on there, that little counter on Facebook, that's not the one. But you say I have 500 friends, but you have no one to go to.
That's right. And those 500 friends are some of them can be perfect strangers. Yeah. Because people's their sites aren't private and such. And so a lot of them can be perfect strangers, where the vast majority of them are acquaintances and people that don't live in their neighborhoods, that they don't see every day at school, and those kinds of things. So calling them friends is really a stretch. But I think in the world that we live in, everybody categorizes it that way.
So real quick, ways to cope.
I think ways to cope is that, have family nights. Unplug. Don't be stuck in phones. And as I've said over and over, is that your kids watch you, even your teens. They watch their parents. And so make sure that parents are being unplugged and kids are being unplugged.
Perfect time to plug our parenting tip of the week. Give it to us.
I think what parents need to do is they need to be observant. They need to look and see if their kids are feeling lonely, if they're engaging outside of their social media, outside of some kind of electronic device. And if they're not, have a conversation with them and try to engage them in activities that's going to help them develop personal relationships.
All right, Belinda, we always appreciate it. Thank you. Coming up next, school might be out for summer, but educators at CISD are gearing up for next year.